The Vietnamese were a people who resided in the area around the modern-day Gulf of Tonkin and Red River since at least the Bronze Age, with their own distinct language, culture, and ethnicity. Despite attempts to assimilate the Vietnamese into the Chinese Empire, which was unified at the time under the Tang Dynasty, the people were very resistant, and revolts were common. Between the years of 722 and 728 alone, Chinese records show 3 revolts had to be quelled, and they were dealt with brutally. The general in charge of suppressing these insurrections ordered the bodies of 80,000 rebels beheaded and stacked into a large pyramid as a warning to others who dared to oppose the Tang. Throughout the 800s, the Tang faced escalating Vietnamese rebellions, each stronger, larger, and more unified than the last. Many times, Chinese administrators were forced to flee the province, only returning with military backup behind them. The Tang Dynasty was a big deal. At the peak of its power around 700 AD, it was among the most powerful states in the world, with more territory than even the Roman Empire at its height. Its southernmost province, the Annam Protectorate, encompassed the Vietnamese people, including modern-day Hanoi. To be able to maintain order in its provinces, the Tang Dynasty appointed governors known as Giai Dushi, or in Vietnamese, Thiet Do Su, which had imperial authority to basically be in charge of the region, as long as they paid tribute and could defend it. They could maintain armies, collect taxes, and appoint subordinates in the name of Imperial China. Eventually, it was not uncommon for Thiet Do Su throughout China to become de facto independent kings, and ignore the demands of the central imperial government, or even rebel against it. This system eventually brought about incredible political turmoil to the Tang Dynasty, directly contributing to its decline. In the Annam Protectorate, this was marked by increasing amounts of wealth and power being held by powerful regional Vietnamese families and the escalating presence of rebellions that we talked about earlier. By 905 AD, the Tang Dynasty was so weakened that when a regional Vietnamese rebellion successfully overthrew the governor, they had no choice but to recognize the new, self-proclaimed Thiet Do Su as legitimate. This man, named Khuc, was a member of a powerful and well-known Vietnamese family, the Khuc clan. Now, the Vietnamese were all but independent, but still nominally a part of the Chinese Empire. Khuc died after only 2 years as governor, and his son Khuc took over the title of Thiet Do Su in 907. That same year, the last Tang emperor was deposed, beginning an era of instability in China known as the 5 Dynasties and 10 Kingdoms. The Annam Protectorate went from being under control of the Tang Dynasty to being a territory of the later Liang Dynasty, a local state that formed in the aftermath of the empire's collapse. A comparatively weaker empire, the later Liang Dynasty recognized Khuc as its legitimate Thiet Do Su and mostly stayed out of the way as he continued to consolidate regional power. To maintain good faith with the Chinese, and perhaps also to spy on the political situation there, he sent his son Khuc north as an ambassador. After Khuc's death in 917, Khuc became the new Thiet Do Su. Things were still pretty unstable in China, and around this time, a new Chinese state emerged known as the Southern Han Kingdom, which claimed the Vietnamese territory in the face of the weakening later Liang. Due to his relationship with the later Liang, Khuc did not recognize the Southern Han as a legitimate state. This made their leader pretty mad. So in 930, the Southern Han responded by sending an army to occupy the area and proclaimed a new Chinese administrator as the official Thiet Do Su of Annam. With the later Liang powerless to stop the Southern Han, the Vietnamese natives took matters into their own hands. The next year, a general named Ngo Dynasty, who previously served under Khuc, destroyed the Southern Han garrison at modern-day Hanoi and defeated their relief force, establishing himself as the new Thiet Do Su, although still nominally under the banner of the later Liang. However, within 10 years, the Southern Han would be back, intending to end the rebellious Vietnamese once and for all.